Hello everyone. Today we have another Kurzgesagt's video, looking inside your brain to see how memories work. I am not well versed in brain anything, so I'll be a little more quiet in this one because I don't have anything to throw out there. No fun facts because I just don't know much about the mind and the brain. But let's get into it and see. We'll both be learning.
Memories are biological magic that enable you to experience bygone moments over and over. With them,
Technically,
your mind can encode, store and retrieve information about the world and yourself. But memories are not static like photos.
yeah, they do
Like
change.
dioramas made from wax, each time they're under the spotlight of your attention, they can melt and change a tiny bit. Which is a bit concerning because they are a huge part of what makes you, you.
Yeah.
They are the person.
Like, you could argue someone who's lost all of their memories, like they are physically the same person, but they also aren't the same person because for all the decisions they've made before, they have none of the context that led them to that. So, like, yes, they are the same person, but at the same time, not entirely.
Law a lot of your identity is based on, and the basis for your decisions about your future. What does it mean if they change? And more fundamentally, what is a
I
memory?
mean, a person is
How
always
is a
changing
moment in
slightly,
time stored in squishy
but changing
meat?
nonetheless.
Your brain is weird madness.
I believe
The
it.
human brain is the most complex thing in the universe, so we need to simplify.
Yeah, just mapping, like, I forgot which one it was, like a mouse saw, I think it was a mouse's brain. It took so much like storage to do, and a human brain is so much more complex than a mouse's.
Quite a bit. Scientific models work, but are not a perfect reflection of reality. It's a bit like talking about elementary particles. But in a nutshell, what makes you think and feel is a complex system of about 86 billion neurons. Extremely complex electrochemical root systems sending and receiving signals through synapses, tiny gaps between cells where an electrical signal is converted into chemicals,
Yeah,
bridges the distance, is received and converted into electricity again.
yeah. The brain is really weird, like really fragile and delicate, but it's also like really amazing all the stuff it can do because it can do a lot. Like it's not something like, oh yeah, it's simple. It's just a body part. It's really complex.
This is how neurons talk to each other. And
Oh,
it's a
hello.
busy conversation because a
Hello,
typical
hello.
neuron is
I
connected with
Allah.
up to
Oh,
10,000 others. Together, they're a network of hundreds of trillions of connections, 100 times more than galaxies in the observed.
that's crazy. But then again, on the micro scale, I think there's a lot going on. Like just the amount of cells and just things in general. When you go really low down, like small down, it's a lot.
universe.
Like I think you can go further down, like zooming in, than you can go zooming out.
From these
I think.
connections, the magic of your existence emerges. To create purpose in this chaos, some connections need to grow stronger. Whenever two neurons fire at the same time,
Yeah, because if you remembered everything equally, you wouldn't. Well, unless you had like perfect recall, you wouldn't remember much of anything. Like, well, it's not like you wouldn't remember much of anything. Nothing would stand out. Like thinking about something you did like last week and thinking about something you did like a year ago would both be equal
their synapses
in
change
priority.
and their connection gets stronger. They become buddies if you want, and when their buddy calls, they join in. If we zoom out, patterns emerge. Dozens or thousands of neurons organize into local columns. These columns are very
Bit
basic
of a
information
flashbang.
processing units that process a tiny piece of all the input coming in from your senses, like dark and light, a location in space, how a texture feels, the sound of words, and so on. You have columns for sound.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy about sounds and like sights and touch because to you, you feel like you're processing them instantly. But to your brain, it's like getting the input, passing on the input, decoding the input, and then relaying it to you. It's so not instant, but at the same time, it feels instant to you.
Sound, images, touch, etc., all located in different parts of your brain. These columns are the gears of the biological machine that is your cortex. It's the fundamental hardware you emerge from. Everything
Yeah.
you see, hear, or feel causes the gears to move, which means your neurons to fire together. But for you to have a coherent experience, these very different gears need to be connected together. Any moment you perceive is made from different parts. As you're watching this video, your eyes activate
Yeah,
columns
it's
for vision
really
and color in your
complex
visual
and it
cortex.
flows
Your ears
seamlessly.
transmit information to your auditory cortex. Language areas are decoding my words, while other networks keep track of your body and emotions.
Somatosensory
These
cortex.
signals are processed in deeper areas of your brain that evaluate them, boosting what seems important right now and tuning out what doesn't. Vastly simplifying, this
If you could capture everything you've seen and like encountered with equal priority as a like deemed important, you would have like almost perfect recall on like even like the most like random mundane stuff. Like if something like fell behind you or just like moved or shifted, you'd still be able to remember it because everything was prioritized.
concert of all these different gears
So you could
connected
contrast
by
it.
levers, wheels, and screws comes together to create a new structure within your brain machine. The assembly. A new pattern of synchronized activity within the grand architecture of your brain. This assembly of very different neurons firing together is what gives you the experience of being a human being in this moment. So the assembly active in your brain right now is you watching this video, hearing my voice, and learning about memories. But this is only activity without permanent substance. Like ripples on a pond, nothing will remain.
What's
Without
that?
memories, you'll be forever trapped in the present.
Yeah. Without your memories, you have no prior context of yourself, what can hurt you, what you need to do, what's required for living. Without memories, you could like stand in like a fire and be burning to death and not move because if you only have like present memories, you'd feel pain, you'd know it hurts, but you wouldn't know to like get out of it because without memories, you wouldn't know there's something else besides burning because all you have is the present.
To become a being that transcends time, you need to etch these fleeting
We don't
sensory
exactly
inputs,
transcend
these
time, though.
temporary moments, into something physical that will remain. And how does your brain decide what becomes permanent? With a deadly competition. How to store the past.
The knife.
In reality, there's not just one assembly active in your brain. Your brain can't process everything in the outer and inner
Yeah.
world with full attention, so different assemblies are fighting for dominance. The details are complicated, but at any moment, one assembly is winning and
We're simplifying a lot here. In reality, it is more a coalition of assemblies than an all-out battle.
deemed the most important.
That
by
makes
your
sense
brain.
though.
This is what you're aware of right now. In your brain, the assembly processing the sentence I'm speaking to you seems to be the most active and wins. Your brain thinks this matters, and you're forming a new memory. Two things are happening right now. The neurons of the winning assembly are bathed in chemicals that make them more susceptible to change and tie them closer together, strengthening the synapses between them. And the memory center and librarian of your brain, the hippocampus, is activated.
Another
The details
flashbang.
here are super complicated, and the exact process isn't fully understood yet. But in a nutshell, your hippocampus creates a blueprint, saving the rough configuration of the assembly. The assembly is saved and put on an index with all your other memories.
So when it says it saves the assembly, is it like the layout of like the synapses and stuff? Is it like the order it was like arranged in? Because if so, that's so much to remember. Because you have for every memory, there's like a specific pattern or way it went. That's insane.
That are associated with what was going on in this moment. Like every time I was confused by something in a
Confused
Kurzgesagt video.
Ksats.
Finally, you have a memory. An activation pattern of millions of neurons spanning many different regions of your brain. Activating any part of the pattern now makes the whole assembly fire. Now, you're able to relive a moment of the past that's gone forever in the real world.
Well, that's kind of bleak. It's not really gone forever. You have, well, before it might have been, but now you have cameras. You can take a picture. You can take a video. There's so many ways to record that's not solely your memory. But the focus here is memory. So, but you have other people's memories. You can't access them, but they can tell you about them.
But this new memory is very fragile and still pretty temporary. Your hippocampus holds its blueprint, but without reinforcement, the assembly will fade and the synapses will be weakened again. This
Do you remember
is why
incorrectly?
you forget most moments of your life, why you don't remember how your coffee tasted 43 weeks ago on a Monday.
You don't remember how your coffee tasted 43 weeks ago on a Monday because it was 43 weeks ago on a Monday. If you could remember clearly that your coffee was great or that it sucked 43 weeks later, your memory is extremely outstanding, to say the least.
You experience most of your life only once,
And you would hate to be an enemy of someone who had that much recall because they will never let anything go if they're petty. You'll be getting done dirty for things you don't even remember, but they have clear memory on what you did wrong.
in the moment you live it. And you don't just forget what happens to you, you also forget what happens in the world. Most news stories disappear
Advertisement. We'll do at least one to show support for the channel.
within days, and often you never even saw the full picture in the first place. This is why we've partnered with Ground News, a media literacy tool whose mission we fully support. Their app and website let you compare coverage, explore context, and see how
I wonder how long
stories
this is
spread
going to stay in
over
my
time.
brain.
You can even see how bias shapes the narrative. Take this study on Alzheimer's risk in women. More than 40 articles were published on it. Some focus on how menopause shrinks parts of the brain, others highlight the benefits of hormone therapy. You're actively weighing different aspects, and that deeper engagement helps your brain to remember.
Yeah, it is good to do things that like train your memory or like require you to remember, like reading. Gaming to an extent. Some games are, you have to retain information, others you just do. But it's good to like do things that help you with memory, or else your memory just becomes kind of fragile.
Importantly, Ground News reveals blind spots, stories that only one side is covering, showing you what your usual news feed is hiding. As information bubbles become the norm, thinking critically about the news is no longer optional. And Ground News makes it easier to do just that. Try it via the QR code on the screen
Sorry.
or go to ground.news/nutshell. Our link below gives you 40% off an unlimited access subscription and directly supports our channel.
The link would work since the video is like, what, a day or two old? So it should work if
And
you want to
now,
go check it
back
out.
to your brand new memory.
Yes, it is a brand new memory that I will be retaining for about 2 days. Don't ask me about it in like an hour though. I will not remember anything that was said.
For the past to be truly saved, the assembly needs to fight for its life. There are many ways this can happen. One of them is novelty. If you walk to the bus, listening to some mildly interesting podcast as usual, this assembly's signal is too weak.
Yeah, because it's monotonous. Everything, like, if you did something the exact same way day after day for like a month, the entire month would blend together because there was no like diversity, there was no like wonder, there was nothing to like be like, oh wow, so nothing stands out. So everything kind of like blends together. And like, if you did something fun, you have like a clearer recollection of it.
This moment in time will be lost like tears in rain.
That's
But if one
poetic.
day you see a crow and a squirrel fighting over a nut, only for a mouse to steal it, the assembly will fire strongly just for the novelty of it all.
Yeah.
Another one
Because
is
it's
to
so
reactivate
random.
the memory over and over after it's formed. Thinking about the animal fight all day and telling everyone about the strange event will etch it deeper into your brain. Similar to
Yeah.
doing loads of repetition when you try to
Like studying. You go over something again and again until you got it. No, I don't miss studying. I wasn't terrible at it, so long as it was reading. Reading is fairly easy. I'm pretty good at reading. But just studying in general, I didn't do much of it, but I also didn't ace my test. It was like, what, B's or C's? Sometimes A's depending on the subject. But I did not like to study.
learn something. And a major way to make a memory stick is to feel emotions.
Yeah,
Emotions are
if you feel like intense anger and then recall a memory, you might end up pissing yourself off. Just recalling it because you were so mad. Same as with being happy or excited. You remember it clearly, or clearer than, say, just doing something in boredom.
really strong mechanisms to guide our behavior that evolved hundreds of millions of years ago. They motivate you to avoid danger, seek out food, and reproduce. You experience this as something feeling good or bad. Whenever you feel something strongly, your ancient brain decides that whatever is going on is
My
important
brain is
for your
not ancient,
survival,
thank you. It is
regardless
very new.
if it's wrong or not. So many of your
Slightly new.
strongest memories have strong emotional
Yeah.
flavors. The humiliation when you acted dumb in front of your crush.
That would stick with you. That's never happened to me. But even like years later, you would remember something like where you felt humiliated because you really felt it. It would stick with you, absolutely.
The joy when you beat your dad at Mario Kart.
Yeah,
The
games.
devastation when your dog died. The
Sadness.
overwhelming love when you held your first kid. If we just made you feel something,
I'd
we
suppose.
increase the chances that you'll remember this video. Strong activation, repetition, and emotions do the same thing to your memory. We said before that chemicals made the neurons able to change. Well, now they change
That's a
drastically.
pretty color blend
Like wax
behind.
warming up and melting together, the gears of the assembly grow new teeth to fit more tightly. Neurons grow more synapses and fire together even better. They become closer and more solid. A lot of this happens while you sleep. Your hippocampus.
My dreams are just darkness. Like, I know I dream. I do know I dream. But when I wake up, all I remember is nothing. I don't remember anything. Most of the time. Sometimes I do. But for the most part, it's just darkness. Like, I know for a fact I dreamed. But I never remember what, so it just fades into like nothing. Yeah, I miss having like those really vivid dreams where you could do cool stuff.
Replays the assembly over and over, making it more solid and easier to retrieve, which also means that if you don't sleep enough, you literally forget more of your life.
That's
Think about-
depressing. Working 2 jobs and not having enough sleep. You'll just be going through life like a zombie because you don't have enough time to sleep and to process.
About that when you have to study for a test next time. Without proper sleep, you'll be wasting your time.
No, what you can do is study hard, really hard. And then when you go to take the test, you sleep then. Problem solved. You got your sleep.
But in the end, you have a proper long-term
I
memory.
pity about the
A
test though.
diorama of hardened wax displaying a moment of your life. A scene etched into a pattern of connection inside your brain. Now, you can remember it forever. Well, why remembering changes your memories forever.
Oh, you remember it forever unless you have like memory issues, concussions, dementia. That's also a really terrible one. Not being able to recall things that you should know is pretty sad because the person they were, it's not like they're gone, but they're also not there. It's really sad.
To remember, you need a cue for the memory, something that's part of the
Yeah.
original assembly.
Like if you had a ton of fun on like a beach, if you went to a beach, you'd recall that more clearly than say sitting down and reading in a library.
A smell, sound, word, or maybe the image of an angry crow. Your hippocampus
And it'll
searches its
regenerate
index for
the
a cue, hopefully finding the right
Squirrel,
stored
crow,
assembly
and mouse
activates it.
stealing the
It fires.
nut.
Your past experience is retrieved. The diorama appears in your mind, and you relive seeing the crow and squirrel fighting. So far, so good. But as the diorama plays for you, you start changing it.
Why?
Recalling memories is not like loading a video and
That's
pressing
true.
play. Under the light of your attention, parts of the wax become soft again, moldable. Which
Blurry.
means that as you experience the memory in your mind, the neurons involved are bathed in chemicals that make them able to change their structure again.
Oh,
Your hippocampus organizes memories based on a
so are you ever really remembering the actual event clearly?
few things, but most importantly, the context of the experience. And the context is now very different. When you formed the memory, you were tired, in a mildly bad mood before work, and very surprised.
Yeah.
Right now, you're putting the memory as you're having a night out with your friends and are telling your hilarious story of the
It does happen because when you tell something or when someone's telling you something, you'd be like you could be like, yeah, I don't think that's how it went down, and they will swear to you that's how it went down. But it might just be the memory just changing with how they keep retelling it until it's not exactly correct. But it's true to how they remember it.
epic squirrel crow fight. And this new context seeps into the memory. New connections form, some synapses are weakened, while others reconfigure. The diorama changes, becomes funnier and more absurd. Not because you want it to, your
Oh,
brain is just incorporating the new
the girl has
context
a
of your
knife.
life into the memory. As you finish your story, the light of your attention moves on. The diorama hardens again, now in a new form. The next time you remember the animal fight, you'll remember it as way funnier than when you actually experienced it.
Why did they
And
give the
it's
girl
the
so
same
much
with all
aura?
your memories. When you retrieve them, your brain adds new information or forgets some and incorporates your emotions and expectations. In a sense,
So it's always changing depending on your current mood. Well, I guess if you remember something in anger, even if it was fine, you might just remember it and be annoyed.
it updates your past life to fit the narrative of
Yeah.
your present life. Over time, even core memories can shift, combine with others, or generate.
Yeah, you can merge like two memories that's like nowhere remotely similar. Just having like one memory. You could just blend two together and not realize it.
Generate entirely new elements. Your memory system is deeply intertwined with the mechanisms for learning.
Yeah.
It was never designed to create an accurate representation of the world. So your memories are updated as you gain new experiences and information.
Well, that's quite subjective. If it was never made to get an accurate depiction of the world, then you're just getting a really subjective version for yourself.
Ironically, the more you remember something actively, the less of the original experience remains.
That's
This also means that
strange.
just because you remember something really well, it doesn't mean your
Yeah.
memory is correct. It just means that its assembly is really strong and vivid.
Just not
It's not a
necessarily
sudden process.
the correct
Your
way.
identity is safe for today. It's a slow shift in the overall patterns inside your mind. You are who you are today, but your future self will be different, and they'll think and feel differently about the things you experience today. This is also why therapy can
Yeah.
be so helpful. By revisiting
Some people will swear therapy helps them, and other people will die on the hill that therapy does nothing for them. It's genuinely just up to the individual. Like you can go and do it. There's no shame in it. If you feel like you want to talk to someone, you absolutely should. But you also have to go in with like an open mind because if you go in feeling a certain way, it would affect like, how you take the information they give you and how you deal with it. Because if you went in and you went with the mindset like, oh yeah, this isn't gonna work. This is silly. This is for other people. It might not help you as much as if you went like, oh yeah, let me actually try and see if this will help. Like I did therapy for a bit, and well, I can't really like it did help, not to like any noticeable degree, but it did help. Like it was good to talk to people, you know. But it does depend a lot on the context and your state of mind. Because if you go in with like a negative mindset, it will affect it.
hurtful memories in a safe context, ideally with helpful introspection, you are literally changing your brain. Literally rewiring yourself to get a chance to be happier.
I do think there's an upper limit there, though. I don't think you can take an absolutely depressing memory and turn it into something happy.
Because yes, your memories may be the law of your life and the basis for your future. But it turns out, with some help, you may be able to rewrite your law and be who you want to be.
Advertisement. We did one. We'll skip one. Okay. Wow, what the smooth. Well, the smooth ad transition. Yeah, no, but not smooth enough. Okay, so that was Looking Inside Your Brain to See How Memories Work by Kurzgesagt in a nutshell. I'll link their channel below in the description if you want to watch their video or go on the channel. So yeah, I didn't talk nearly as much as I would have if it was like a space video because I'm not very well versed in brain things. Like biology, somewhat. Space, kind of, but brain, it's a bit complex. I can't just like, read about it and see, yeah, I know it. But yeah, it was interesting though. I didn't expect memories to be so subjective. I did think you retained like more. Well, I thought you retained more actual events rather than subjective events, like with it being affected by emotions. I knew it had that to some degree, but not to the extent like, oh yeah, it warped every time you recalled it. Like that was crazy. But yeah, if you enjoy my content, my reactions, feel free to like, subscribe, and comment for more. And I will see you all soon. See ya.